1, 2, 3, 4 clips on another mission.
Welcome to Boys in the Hood TV. Today we're going to be discussing the life of a Compton Crip named Crips from Kelly Park. Now, Crips, born Elijah Salim, was born September 17, 1973 in Compton, California. He, along with his siblings, will be raised in a two-parent home. Now, Crips will be raised in a very religious home with a devout Muslim family who regularly attended the local mosque. Now, by his 10 years, Crips would discover his natural singing abilities, but at the time, school was much more important. He, along with his brother, would attend Dominguez High in Compton. Now, in the mid-'80s, gangbanging had already swept through Compton, and by high school, most kids had already picked a side. Now, Crips, along with his brother, were heavily affiliated with the Kelly Park Compton Crips. Now, by his senior year, Compton would make a splash in the music business with the arrival of NWA. Now, this would inspire a lot of gang members and a lot of non-gang members to experiment with rapping. Now, Eazy-E, who was from Kelly Park, would be a big inspiration for Crips to jump in the music industry. Now, although there was a lot to be proud of being from Compton at this time with the rise of NWA, but at the same time, on the flip side, drug and gang violence will be on the rise. Now, it's been reported that in 1990, there were 91 homicides per 100,000 residents, and this was an all-time high in Compton. Now, in 1991, Crips will be arrested after being charged with disturbing the peace during a dice game. Now, because this was a misdemeanor, he would only spend a little time in county and eventually get out. Now, once 1992 swept in, a peace treaty amongst the gangs would take place after the beating of Rodney King, and we would see unity amongst all the LA gangs all the way to Compton. Now, from within this peace treaty, this would lead to an idea to bring together both Bloods and Crips for a collaborative rap album called Bangin' on Wax. Now, Tweety Bird Loke from Kelly Park, along with OG Ronnie Ron, who was the founder of Dangerous Records, would put all the pieces together. Now, along with Tweety Bird, who was from Kelly Park, other Kelly Park Crips will participate, like Crips, D-Fingers, and AWOL will get on board. And with this album, this will be an opportunity for Crips to show off his talent. Now, he was not only chasing his music dream, but also a possible dream in Hollywood. Now, in early 1992, he was tried for the biopic for Tina Turner called What's Love Got to Do. Now, although he was 20 years old, he would land a small role as the 16-year-old version of Ike Turner Jr. Now, after filming his role, he would have to reshift his focus back to the rap game to lay down his music for Bangin' on Wax album. Now, before the album even came together, the Bloods and Crips would all meet up at the legendary Leon Haywood studio to discuss the album. But things would take a turn for the worse, nearly destroying almost any chance of this album happening.
The Bloods is on one side, the Crips is on one side. We're looking at each other. Some of us know each other, some of us don't. Tweety Bird and Red Rum came together to introduce both person from their hood. So that went well. With them being funny, a bagging session started. Next thing you know, tell your boy to hush, he's saying too much. You know, he can't handle it. This shit's fun, but you want to take it serious, we can. So next thing you know, Coach started opening up and motherfuckers was grabbing their pistols.
Now, once the album got the green light, Crips will go by his stage name, Young Malcolm. Now, although he was repping Kelly Park and representing the Seaside, due to his talent and vocal ability, he will be asked by the executive producers of the label to record the hook for the Die Moves. And that song would be their main single, Piru Love, which would drop in 1993.
Piru love. I said a Piru love.
Now, this experience will be life-changing for Crips. Now, also that same year, in the summer of 1993, the movie What's Love Got to Do would drop, and although he had a small time on camera, Compton would see they own on the big screen.
Say hey to your mom.
Now, not long after, Crips would have a run-in with the law after being arrested on multiple charges, including assault with a deadly weapon, pointing a laser at a police officer, battery, and attempted petty theft. Now, he would eventually be only convicted of the pointing the laser at the officer, and all the other charges would be dismissed. In total, he would only spend 24 days in county, and in the end, he would get 24 months probation. Now, once 1994 hit, this would be a big year for Crips. He would go on to sign a solo deal with Dangerous Records, and with this album, he would show off his rapping abilities, and immediately he would be able to put his skills to display on his homie Tweety Bird's album called No Holds Barred.
1, 2, 3, 4 clips on another mission. Goddamn, I got 2 Glocks and a Mac 10.
Now, also on that same album, 4 Clips will be heard on a diss track aimed at Eazy-E, singing the hook and also doing a verse disrespecting Eazy-E along with Tweety Bird Loc.
PPT, like that bitch ass nigga Eazy-E. Coming to my hood, wanna shoot a video, but what about your dead homie's funeral?
But after having this feature, he will also make his return on the Bangin' on Wax 2 album, and this time he'll be doing the hook for both Bloods and Crips on a laid-back record called I Wish You Were Here. Now by 1995, 4 Clips will release his own debut album called Just Be Thankful along with the video.
The east side, west side, true riders, new riders, get off your ass and pass y'all.
Now that same year, 95, he will also be asked to collab with the Bloods yet again, but this time for the Dot Move Riders album. Now once 1996 rolled in, Compton had become a war zone, not only between the Pirus and Crips, but Pirus against Pirus. And at this point, the peace treaty had become a thing of the past, and it was on site. And by September of 96, things would get even worse once Tupac Shakur was killed by the Southside Crips. Now with all this chaos going on, 4 Clips would notice that his music career didn't quite take off as he had expected to. Even with all the features and the release of his solo album over the past several years, he was still in the hood trying to make it out. Now this would lead to 4 Clips running the streets, and in that same month of September, he would be arrested on burglary and grand theft charges. Now, he would plead no contest, but in the end, he would take a plea deal. Now, the burglary charge would be dismissed, but he would be sentenced for the other charge. Now, in 1997, 4 Clips will be back out on the streets. Now, by 1998, Compton was still a hot spot for gang violence, but 4 Clips will yet again find himself in trouble with the law after being arrested on battery charges. Now, he will be convicted, but be given another chance and be only sentenced to 2 years probation. Now, Clips around this time had been kicking it with Sin Loc from the neighborhood Compton Crips. Now, both would start to discuss a plan for Clips to do the hook on one of Sin Loc's songs called Still Rollin'. But sadly, before they could even record this song, death would come for 4 Clips. On October 27, 4 Clips and Sin Loc would meet up at the Underworld Records and Tape Shop on Alondro Boulevard. Now, this was a popular spot owned by Big A, a very, very close friend of the late Eazy-E. Now, Big A was known for having well-known celebrities pull up to this spot anytime they touched down in Compton. Now, later that night, after kicking it, 4 Clips and Sin Loc will go their separate ways, but they had planned on meeting back up together later on that night. Now, as 4 Clips rode his bike, ride down the street, an unknown assailant would pull up and open fire. 4 Clips will be hit multiple times as he collapsed on the pavement. Now, police and paramedics would arrive on scene, but sadly, 25-year-old 4 Clips would be pronounced dead at the scene. Now, Sin Loc would arrive shortly after to see the police covering 4 Clips' body as he laid on the ground.
I saw yellow tape, and when I saw the yellow tape, I see the police out there. I saw 4 Clips' bike on the ground. So many feet away, I saw 4 Clips' body being covered up by a sheet.
I would like to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.